Hello and welcome to day 3 of the Eat Yourself Happy Challenge. Today I'm going to be talking about the gut-brain microbiome connection. What is it? Why it's so important? And then I'll be sharing about how you can build, grow and nurture a gut microbiome that sets you up for mental clarity and resilience. If you've followed me or heard me talk before, you're probably already aware of the gut-brain connection that is present through the vagus nerve. When we are developed, when we are created in utero, what happens is the gut and the brain actually separate from the same cell. The brain goes up and the gut goes down, but what connects them is something called the vagus nerve, which wanders throughout the body from the brainstem right down to the gut. And there is a communication highway that goes through this vagus nerve from the brain to the gut and from the gut to the brain. And in actual fact, 80% of signals actually go from gut to brain. Only 20 go from brain to gut. So those feelings that you get in your tummy when you're nervous, when you're excited, absolutely, that's the gut feeling that excitement. And that excitement is then communicated up through the vagus nerve to the brain. So it's very important when we talk about gut health that gut health is optimal when we want to have optimal mental health because of this vagus nerve. And stress gets in the way of that because stress causes that vagus nerve to be activated and the stress response to be activated. So we really need to be aware of our stress. And I'd like you to go back and listen to yesterday's video if that is an issue for you, because I spoke about it more then. But more than this vagus nerve, more than the gut-brain connection through the vagus nerve, there are other ways that the brain actually communicates, that the gut actually communicates with the brain. And one of these ways is through the gut microbiome. The gut microbiome refers to the 37 trillion bacterial cells that live within your large intestine. Of those 37 trillion bacterial cells, we've got lots of different families of bacteria. And within those families of bacteria, we've got lots of different strains. So it is quite intricate. We like to refer to the gut microbiome as a forest. We have all these different species of plants living in the forest. And it's when those plants live together that the forest thrives. And we need to think of our gut in that way as well, and our gut microbiome. We want all of the species of bacteria in the gut to be living in harmony with each other to allow the host, which is us, to have optimal health, and that includes optimal mental health. But what happens is often we have diets that are very mono-diety. We eat the same thing week in and week out. We have stresses. We don't have enough fiber. We don't have enough color in our diets. And this is reducing the bacterial diversity within our gut. So we are actually killing off species of bacteria in our gut. And this is contributing to the mental health conditions that we have these days. But why is the gut microbiome so important? And it's because the gut microbiome actually has the ability to communicate to our brain through the byproducts of the bacteria called our short-chain fatty acids. So short-chain fatty acids can communicate to the brain and let it know that all is well. We also know through the research now that a lot of our neurotransmitters are made in the gut. Now, we don't know how much of those neurotransmitters, so again, here I'm talking about serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, which is our anti-anxiety neurotransmitter. These neurotransmitters are actually made in the gut. We don't know how much of them actually cross over into the brain, but it just goes to show that for the gut to be happy, we need those neurotransmitters that we need in the brain for the brain to be happy as well. So we need our bacteria to be able to create these short-chain fatty acids for those short-chain fatty acids to communicate to the brain that all is well. The gut microbiome also helps increase our tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid, and this amino acid is the precursor to serotonin. So if you don't have enough tryptophan in your diet or in your body, you won't be able to make your serotonin sufficiently. So bacteria helps increase this amount of tryptophan that is available to make your serotonin. And we know that the gut bacteria, specific species of gut bacteria, actually produce that GABA, that anti-anxiety hormone, neurotransmitter. So I'm sure you are aware that if you have suffered from anxiety or you've suffered from depression, you also have suffered from some gut-related symptoms. And even if you haven't, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the bacterial diversity in your gut to be able to support your brain and to be able to support your mental health. So now that I've given you the problems, what is the solution? We want to build, grow, and nurture a gut microbiome that sets you up for mental clarity and resilience. How do we do this? The gut microbiome loves diversity. So we need to be eating a really wide, diverse diet to help support the diversity in the gut. The gut also loves, or the bacteria within the gut love to feed off dark, rich, deeply colored fruit and vegetables, specifically red fruit and vegetables. So things like pomegranates, red peppers, tomatoes, the gut microbiome love to feed off these. Those dark colors in fruit and vegetables are called polyphenols, and it's those polyphenols that help support the growth and development and maturity of that gut microbiome. So really loading your diet with polyphenols is a great way to support your gut microbiome. The gut microbiome also loves to feed off fiber. Our diets these days don't reach the recommended 30 grams that the NHS has set for our gut to function effectively. So we want to be aiming for at least 30 grams of fiber in our diet on a daily basis. How can we do this, and how do I suggest people get it in? Mainly through fruit, vegetables, nuts and seeds, beans and lentils. Be careful if you're introducing beans and lentils for the first time. Introduce it really slowly. Start with a teaspoon or a tablespoon a day and up it if you don't experience any symptoms like gas and bloating from it. But what you want to be doing is making sure that you're reaching that 30 grams a day of fiber to help support your gut microbiome. I also love to use things like prebiotic fibers. Prebiotic fibers help feed the gut microbiome. So I use one from Zinzino, and I'll happily put a link to that in today's notes. I love to add this to smoothies or just to water and drink that on a daily basis, knowing that I'm giving my gut microbiome a really good dose of fertilizer. Other ways to support the gut microbiome and other prebiotic rich foods are things like cooked and cooled starches like potatoes, rice, pasta, sweet potatoes, quinoa. All of these cooked and cooled starches resist digestion and end up in your large intestine and act as food for your gut bacteria. I hope you found this useful. Today's recipe is very many thanks to Zoe, who owns Raphael's Deli. You've received some of her ingredients in the recipe, in the ingredients list, your shopping list on Monday and Tuesday. So I really hope you enjoy the recipe today. It's inspired by the Mediterranean lifestyle and diet, and we'll be speaking about that more in this week. I hope you enjoy it. Do give me your feedback. Do ask any questions if you have any, and goodbye for now.